Games for Love is a 501c3 dedicated to easing suffering, saving lives, and creating a sustainable future for children. One of our most important programs is GFLX, also known as the Games for Love Experience. Traditionally, what we would do is we would go into hospitals, spend time with that hospital during an event where we play games with kids. While we're playing games with kids, we're talking with hospital staff. We usually bring in a catered meal to be able to have a chance for us to talk and just to get to know them better in their facility and some of the pain points that they're experiencing. Through that process, we come back, create a plan of action that we deliver to those hospitals long term to be able to help them pretty much indefinitely. How we've had to change because of COVID-19 is that we're no longer able to go into these hospitals. We're no longer able to play games with kids, at least not right now. And so what we have developed is a plan of action and a part of our program that's now called GFLX Drops.
Games aren't just a distraction, and they can be a wonderful distraction, but the way that they're used now, it's both a creative outlet and a way of communicating with their peers that a lot of people either take for granted or don't understand.
I think things like the newer gaming systems and the coding robot and to be able to play with the iPad Pro in a new way, those are things that sometimes we see kids get up out of bed and come down for the first time.
With your support, we can make a big difference in the lives of children. Thank you for going on this journey with us. On behalf of Games for Love and the children at these hospitals, for the kids. What was your first memory playing a game? At least for me, it was those long car rides, being able to pull out the Game Boy and just have a chance to escape for a little bit and be a kid. How much more impactful is it for kids that are in hospitals that are going through isolation and oppression to be able to just be kids, play games, have some distraction therapy, and not worry about their next treatment or the next surgery? And really, that is the power of distraction therapy and why it's so important in today's hospital environments for kids. See, right now with COVID happening, they're not allowed to see their grandparents. They're locked down in their rooms and can only have one parent at a time in the room, so they're not able to see the other as well, and no siblings either. So gaming is incredibly important. It allows them to connect to the outside world and to experience amazing things. Help us to provide that experience for more kids in hospitals around the nation and around the world.
Oh my God, I'm live now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back from a very long break. It is Lisa's Lair, and it is me, your wonderful host, Lisa Wallen, aka Lisa Wallen. And as you can see, we had a very, very special video right before I went live. Today is not only the first, I think, stream we've had back in over a month, but we're also doing a special charity stream for Games for Love. If you don't know what Games for Love is, it's a wonderful organization that provides hospitalized children with computer games, video games, basically distractions, to help them, kind of go through the rough time they're dealing with in hospitals, which is, very important during COVID. So if you guys are interested in donating or interested in checking out Games for Love, we do have a thank you, Anthony, for plugging the charity Nightbot right there. That will be up every 15 minutes. But anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new to this show, you are already, I haven't even introduced you yet. I have to introduce myself first, but let me introduce myself first before we bring on our guest today, because I'm sure everyone here is brand new and never seen this show before and have no idea who I am. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Lisa Wallen. I am a creator for Evil Geniuses. I'm also a stand-up comedian and a streamer and a podcaster and a TikToker and an Instagrammer and a tweeter and also a writer. I'm just a lot of things. And I'm also, I think, one of the only shows here on Evil Geniuses. So thank you for joining. we have changed our concept. We used to have gameplay, and now we just interview all my favorite nerds, and then we nerd out about something nerdy, and it's just a big old lovely nerd time. So speaking of nerds, and now that I've said all that, we're gonna bring out our very special nerd guest today. We met a few weeks ago, and now he's kind of one of my favorite people in the world. He is a host of the We Have Concerns podcast, and It's Too Early on PixelCircus, not Cervix.
No, if you go to PixelCircus, you're gonna get different programming, and you're gonna want your safe search turned on.
You didn't even let me say your name yet, except for earlier. Okay. Anthony Carboni, or is it Manthony? Is it Manthony?
Now, how many Manthonys do you know? Is that a mistake that you make often? Where you hear Anthony and it turns out that the person's name is Manthony?
It's Manthony Carboni, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah,
that's correct.
I'm a huge fan of you, obviously. It is funny though, like not to be that friend, even though like we are friends, but I did have to like Google you and find a video where you say your name so I can make sure that I said it is Carboni. Okay, I just want to make sure. But it did.
Wow.
I did watch an episode. My son's also named Anthony. I was actually quoting Mean Girls. I really hope that you got that.
Oh, no. Yeah. I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't get it.
It's okay. It was just me being a goof, as always. But I'm really excited to have you on the show, not just because you're a wonderful person and I like hanging out with you, but also because every time you pop in my chat, somebody like freaks the fuck out about it. They're like, oh my God, is that the Anthony? And I'm like, no, that's Manthony, but we know who you're talking about. Yeah. And of course, I had to do some research on you today. And I was like, wow, Anthony does a lot of cool shit, which I already was kind of aware of. And I saw you have your own Wikipedia.
I do have a Wikipedia.
With a really great picture of you in there.
What is the picture on my Wikipedia? I should take a look.
I don't know if you want to. It's like a picture of you with like one of those like Japanese like filters on it.
Oh, I love that actually. No, that was my profile pic for a while. That was like when everything was like every photo app was like maybe we're a Pepakura booth. I don't know.
You like how like
maybe we're just like a really intense photo editing like photo booth app. And so that was my profile pic for a while, and I love when people still use that.
Hey, you know what? People still use headshots of me from like 5 years ago where I had 0 tattoos. I'm like, oh, and no glasses either. Like my eyesight, maybe my failed eyesight, my tattoos are like the same, but like maybe they're kind of aligned or something. But yeah, people still use headshots for me from when I was like early 20s. I'm like, please don't. I was a bad person back then.
The issue, I mean, the thing is, we've all had to do this where it's like you're having a friend come on like your channel or your stream or something like that, and you gotta drum up a picture of them real fast. So you just like Google image search them, and it's like, I apologize for what I'm about to do, but this is the first picture of you I found, and I'm going live in 30 minutes. So this is who you are today. All of my old ones have no beard and glasses because I used to wear glasses.
Did you get LASIK?
Yeah, I had them shoot the lasers in my eyes.
See, I don't want to do that because I think I look better with glasses on.
Honestly, I kept a lot of my glasses, and sometimes I'm like, what if I was one of those people that just sometimes wore glasses for fashion? And then I was like, can't do it. I feel like it's disrespectful. As somebody who had to wear glasses, I used to, when people would be like, oh, I don't need these, I just wear them. I'm like, how dare you?
It's like the early 2000s, the emo glasses, the black rimmed.
Right. And sometimes people wouldn't even have glass in them. And you'd just be like, how dare you? This is, if I don't have these on, I trip over everything. So now I don't wear them as like an affectation because I feel like it's disrespectful to people that need to wear glasses.
Start saying to just see a comedy poster with Skater Wisa. Actually, okay, I think I showed you the picture of me from when I was 12 that went viral on Reddit.
Yes.
Yeah, people use that in all my comedy posters forever, but then they expected like a 12-year-old skater girl to be on their shows, and instead they got a very
an emo comedy prodigy.
Yeah, an emo comedy prodigy. There you go. Oh, yeah. And that picture, thank God, is a good photo. But I have a lot of more I mean, did you ever go through an emo phase? I feel like you might have.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I feel,
100%. Yeah.
I feel like
I was emo for a while. I was goth for a little bit. That was a lot. That was a lot, if I'm honest.
it
And
is.
I think the reason I stopped doing it, I think I went from goth to emo because I tried goth for a little while and I was just like, this is too much. Like I honestly like you have to care way too much to be a successful goth.
Also, you lived in Florida. Like, you can't just wear all that black and that humidity.
No, that was the other thing is Florida was always like 115 degrees. And so it was like, there's no way to be goth and in shorts, you know? Like there's no like my heart is as black as 1,000 midnights and my calves are out. Like that just doesn't work.
Oh my God. Well, no, I don't know if you did you see that tweet recently that was like, people are not realizing that climate change is going to like get rid of the most endangered, beloved species, which is hot goth women.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We have to save the hot goth women.
I was goth from, which is funny. I started goth very, very young because my parents just, whatever. I grew up too fast, but I was goth from 5th grade until 8th grade. In my 7th grade photo, I'm wearing a shirt that says, "You laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at you because you're all the same."
No, you did not own that shirt. You did not have that one.
Of course I did. And I wore it proudly with my Hot Topic parachute pants and my
I was going to say that you got that one at the Hot Topic. That's a Hot Topic. That was a bestseller.
Wow, you said the Hot Topic. You sound like my dad.
You got that at the Hot Topic.
You got it at the Hot Topic.
The Funko Pop Emporium.
I don't know if you've been to a Hot Topic recently, but it is
Funkos.
It's and it's like they're not even top topic anymore. It's just like what's trendy now. Like before it was like that was the only place you could buy like very specific t-shirts of like
to be
bands.
fair though, isn't Hot Topic just another phrase for what's trendy right now? Right?
True, but
Hot
Hot Topic. I thought Hot Topic they meant like what's the hot topic? Well, goth people are weird, so we're gonna sell all their merch. And now it's what's the hot topic?
What's everybody talking about? How weird we are. Come on into Hot Topic. Well, now they have Box Lunch, which is Hot Topic for adults that are a little too ashamed to go into Hot Topic. So if you go to a mall, there's a Hot Topic, and then right next to it there's a Boxed Lunch, and Boxed Lunch is like button downs that are like nerdy, but like a little like, okay, you have to go to work. Like if you drink, you're going to have a hangover, and these are the clothes for you.
I'm pissed because they had a Box Lunch Wind Waker dad button-up shirt, and it has been sold out for a year. I have been waiting for it for a year, and all they have it is in larges. And I'm like, this is a medium. It's already too big for me. I can't. So I'm waiting for the day. But
yeah.
And then there's Spencer's.
I'll keep you in my prayers.
And then there's Spencer's, which is the not safe for work version of Hot Topic with sex toys. And
well, Spencer's was kind of like Spencer's would have like 3 sex toys to make kids feel cool that they went in there because there were sexy things in there. But it was mostly like whoopee cushions and shirts with fart jokes on it. And like
now it's like bondage.
Is it really?
Oh my God.
Still exist?
So I just went into a Spencer's the other day because
I was doing in a mall. Are you okay? Were you the only person there? Were you followed?
I love malls, okay? I still do my walks there. I live 5 minutes from a mall, so I went in there to buy nose rings because the only place that sells nose rings.
At the Nose Ringery.
At the Nose Ringery, and half of the store is sex toys now.
Well,
like it's disturbing. I'm like, this is a mall.
I think that's lovely. I think that's the case of a property growing up with its audience. You know what I mean? It's like how if you watch the last season of Avatar, it's definitely for older kids than the first season of Avatar. Spencer's was fart pills. And it grew up with us, and it's still just as immature, but now it's an adult.
It's funny because I still have like the half anime video game shirts, and it has like the really inappropriate shirts. And like the funniest thing I saw is they had one shirt that had like, Black Lives Matter, trans rights stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the other side was like Blue Lives Matter. I'm like, can you make up your mind? Like,
no, you gotta that's the thing is you can't have both in the store. Listen, you can't have both in the store. You gotta really choose one. You gotta really and listen. Choose the correct one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
they're still like, we want to be offensive, but we also want to be progressive at the same time. And it's like, well, you can't. I'm just gonna go to Hot Topic to get my nose rings. That was what I decided.
Yeah. I don't have time for this. I'm going to the nose ringery. Well, I will be respected.
Where I'll buy my all-night Funko Pop.
Mhm.
I actually have been to the Funko Pop, like not the factory, the headquarters.
Yeah, I like that. You, yeah.
I have it here. I didn't know it was here in Washington.
Mhm.
I used to design Funko Pops from it. I was like, wow, this is terrifying. And like, there's like pictures of like people who like, oh yeah, this is my collection. Like, that's a lot of pops. Like I have way too many figurines and whatnot because like I have OCD. Like I just obsessed with something and I must own every single thing of it. But I still have not gone in the Funko. Something about the eyes being blackened. I feel like it's like staring at my soul. But
I only have the only Funko Pops I have, I believe, are Funko Pops I have been given. I don't believe I have ever purchased a Funko Pop. I don't think I've ever gone into a store and requested a Funko Pop. I think they've all been given to me like at events or something like that because I can't. I don't know. So I like the look of some of them, but I only like them when they don't look like a Funko Pop. Do you know what I mean? They like the ones where they have to change them enough to where they don't look. Because otherwise, I'm just like, these are all the same thing.
I hope you get a Funko Pop of you.
There's a Zayn Malik Funko Pop, and I got sent it 100 times on Twitter the other day. People were like, is this an Anthony Carboni Funko Pop? Because Zayn Malik is just a guy with this haircut and a beard.
Oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, that's the issue with the Funko Pops.
Well,
you know, oh, I have this. This is my favorite character is a Funko Pop, and I'm like, is it? Because that could be a Funko anybody.
A Funko anybody. Well, I do it being like a cheaper way to collect things for your favorite series. So I understand that because fucking Nendoroids and Figmas, like that shit is so expensive.
I do have a couple of Nendos. I've got a couple in arm's reach here, but I do like the Nendos a little better. But I'm also at a point. I think you and I discussed this. I'm also at a point where I have to be very careful. I have to monitor the amount of tchotchkes in to tchotchkes out, which like knickknacks in to knickknacks out. I have to be very careful because I sat around. It was like tribbles. They were like self-replicating, and I woke up one day and I looked around and I had like way more plastic doodads than I ever thought I had. And I was like, because I was, I moved during the pandemic, and I had to like, when you're moving during the pandemic, you're doing it all on your own. And I was like, yo, I am packing up way too many plastic garbagey things.
You feel like Andy
to own.
It's like Andy and 40-Year-Old Virgin, just like putting it in the little, like that was me. I rewatched that movie. I was like, this is my bedroom. Why were we making fun of this man in 2004? This is everyone now. Mine is really bad. I had to specifically get a second bedroom apartment for my figure.
Well, but it's your streaming room, right? Like it's your home office, and you just happen to that just happens to give you the extra space to put more things in.
I had a 1-bedroom apartment. All the other stuff was in my parents' basement because I couldn't fit it into my old apartment. So I have to always make enough money for my special my $800 Virgil statue of a character I barely even like. I just thought the statue was great and I needed something to look forward to.
I've never gotten to that point, because when you get to that point, it's like I am somebody who collects statues and figures. That's you know what I mean? Like that's what it becomes, as opposed to like I'm somebody who has statues and figures of things that I enjoy. Like maybe there are 3 or 4 things that I really love, and I get all the little things that go along with that. When you buy the $800 statue of a character that you're not even into because you're like, love this company, great sculpt, great statue, interesting, like one of their top sculpts of the year, that's like, oh, what you are now is you're somebody who collects statues.
I am now a collector. Well, it's also bad because it goes into phases, and my stream knows it. Like they're even saying right now, she's gonna get addicted to Gunpla because that's gonna be my next thing.
That's gonna be rough.
Yeah. Well, I did the Legos, and now I want to do the Gunplas. And
the nice thing about the Gunpla is like it is an activity. It's a collectible and an activity, which is really lovely. It's the same as like I have a lot of friends who it's a lot of the same people who do the gunpla. They also do like miniature painting for the games that they play and stuff like that. And it's like, I understand that. It's not me, but I understand it because it's like, I have something to do. It's a creative outlet. And it's like the thing that I like to collect, and it's a game that I like to play. So it's like two hobbies.
Yeah, me it's more like it's funny. I have a very minimalist mindset. Like most of my apartment is not overdone with stuff, but if I get obsessed with one specific series, like you probably know this, like when I was obsessed going through the Yakuza series, I think I bought every Yakuza merch like you could find. And same
Wow.
thing with Gintama. I was in Japan for 4 months just shopping for Gintama stuff. So
Dude,
now I'm
it's tough when you're
terrified
over there.
now I'm terrified to get into One Piece. Like I can
You don't
never go back to
understand
Japan.
until you go to Japan, you don't understand that like the between like import and licensing and all this stuff, even if you're buying from like the cheapest source you can buy from over here, you have no idea. You go over to Japan and everything is like half the price you think it's going to be. And that's danger. That is danger. You wind up like I had to buy a bag from Tokyo Hands. I had to buy like an expanding bag.
Oh, I bought a suitcase.
Yeah. So I checked my baggage. Like my bags on the way to Japan were carry on. On the way home, I had to check them all because I had to buy the big giant bag to keep all of my tchotchkes in. And I was like, oh, on the last day, I was like, I looked at it all going into the bag and I was like, oh, I have overshopped. I have
Oh.
overshopped in Japan.
I have a very funny story. I went to Japan during Comic-Con and I was, when I wanted to see, whatever, there's some dojins I'm into. So I ended up buying like a bunch of them for one specific ship that I really love. And of course they put it in like a black bag and I didn't want to ruin them. So I put them in my carry-on bag. And since like I just look like a criminal, they always stopped me in the airports in Japan. And the guy
Yeah.
like opened it up
They're
and
like, she's too
pulled.
tall to be. She's too tall.
Yeah,
She's wearing stilts full of stolen goods and drugs.
those tattoos. She's in the Reagan from Mob Psycho gang. The spirits and such. He pulled them out. He pulled out my magazines in front of everyone, and they were very inappropriate. He just immediately put them back in, and just was, like immediately started apologizing. I'm like, it's fine, but
He
thank you.
hentai you in front of everybody.
He hentied me at the airport in front of everybody.
Hentai at the airport. That's wild. Will Brown in the chat is saying, that's a rookie move. I brought a spare bag just to bring stuff home. Here's the thing, Will Brown. I didn't do that on purpose.
I did
on
it
purpose.
too,
No, I did it on purpose. I said, I'm not bringing an extra bag. I am not going to buy that much stuff. I'm going to control myself and I'm going to make sure, like I left myself a little bit of extra space. I was like, this is where the fun stuff goes. No, I needed a bag. It's like, it unfolds to huge size.
Mine was the opposite. I brought an extra bag and then realized that I needed another bag.
It's wild.
To be fair, I was there for like 3 months and I went to other countries. So like if I was there for 2 weeks and I did that, that would be a problem. But
okay, see, I was there for 10 days. It was a problem.
It was a problem. Is that why you still haven't seen your nerdy collection? Because you're like, I'm still unpacking everything.
I'm in the midst of a gigantic reorganization and decluttering of my place. But I also have just raging ADHD. And so my brain doesn't understand how to organize.
Oh, we are the opposite. We've talked about this.
Yeah. So it's taking me an incredibly long time. And it's like piles are just turning into various other piles. They're moving around. Stuff is getting more organized, but only in a way that I understand. And if anybody was to see it, they would think that I was an insane person. But I'm close. Lisa, I'm so close to cracking this system. And once I do, I'm practically going to be a minimalist. I'll tell you. It's going to be amazing.
It is
not
so
true. It's not true.
I have been told before because I guess being neurodivergent's like trendy now. I've been
so
told
hot right now.
It's so funny. I've been having people tell me you have big.
All my medications are so hot right now.
Right, all mine.
I wear them on little chains on my belt, like hit clips in the 90s. So people can see what kind of band you're into. Now they can see what kind of neurodivergent I am, and they're like, ooh.
Well, it was so
not
funny.
Neurodivergent.
I have told so many people told me I have big ADHD, energy, ADD energy. I'm like, you've never seen my apartment. My
Mm.
my car I've had for 6 years and it still smells brand new. Like that's I am
Now, but
like
see,
that. Yeah.
ADHD can present that way in a lot of people though, because you are so worried about letting things get messy because
Yeah.
you know how it will be if even one thing is out of place.
For
You
me
know
it's
how hard it is
yeah.
to find something once even one thing is out of place. And so a lot of people like overcorrect, especially women overcorrect because women are taught that they're not allowed to be messy when they're kids.
Me, it's more like my parents were messy and unstructured, and I had
Yeah.
no schedule, and now I crave that structure. And it's like,
Oh,
oh, that makes sense.
my parents are I love my parents to death. They are hoarders, and that's why I'm always trying to declutter is because I'm terrified that's my future.
For me,
My
it was
dad
more
has
like,
this my dad
yeah,
has this weird room in his house that is like the gift room. And it's not gifts for anybody in particular. He just has this like compulsive shopping thing where like he'll go somewhere and he'll be like, that thing would make a neat gift. And he'll buy 15 of them
oh
and then
no.
put them in a room for gifts for somebody. He knows like 8 people,
You know?
you know? I actually for like 5 years in a row in my early 20s, I got the same birthday gift from him for 5 years, which was like this fancy travel razor set. And he was like, "Yeah, cuz you know, cuz you travel a lot and I thought it would be a great gift." And I took it from him
Here's
every year.
your here's
I was
your
like, "Yeah,
CD
absolutely,
shower
dad.
radio.
Thanks so much, dad. You're right. I am a human being that grows hair. Thank you."
Here's your CD shower radio to go with it. Like, it's
Yeah.
like just the most random gift things ever. At least my parents, like, they're not hoarders, but my dad has a lot of shit, but he reads a different science fiction book every week and he's kept every single one. So
Yeah.
we literally have file cabinets of old science fiction books. And it even funnier, and I've told my stream this, that my dad does not realize that there are science fiction outside of books. So when he came up to me, he goes, "Have you heard of Halo?" I was like, yeah. He goes, "Have you read the books?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Well, I'm watching the TV show, which I think are based off the books." I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's based off a video game."
No, the video game based off the books about John Halo.
Yeah, about John Halo.
I always call him
Yeah.
I call him Johnny Spartan. Little
Yeah.
Johnny Spartan. But yeah, my mother is the same way with books. Her entire garage is full of books. Like
Yeah, I don't
all of
read.
our shelves were full of books. And so now I'm the same way where it's like I can't the one thing that I allow to sprawl is books because I we just grew up in
No,
such a
didn't even
reading
follow
house.
the books.
We just we are just like we were such a reading house and now it's just like I can't give away a book, I can't get rid of a book. I can't it's just the one thing that stuck with me and I'm like, "Okay, I'll allow myself to have this weird tick that comes from my family."
My
John
mom
Halo is a saint, they're saying in the audience. Listen,
John
John Halo is a saint. He's a man with a face and an ass, and we know that now. And that's
well,
why the television series is so important.
Well, what's really funny is so like one of our creators, FearItSelf, I don't know if you know who that is, but he's a former Halo 2 champion, I believe, and he's
First of all,
retired.
congrats.
Yeah, but he's been competing for like 15 years, and so he's one of the OGs. And we did a video recently where we had to like write the lore of our favorite video game. He didn't even know what Halo was about because he never played the campaign before. He's
Yeah,
only played competitive, and he's like, "I don't even know what the game's about." And it
that
was
was like
hilarious.
when I used to review video games. Uh,
He's like,
when I used to,
"Never played in my life."
yeah, when I used to review video games, they'd like hand me a Call of Duty and then they'd be like, "Now, like, remember to write. We've got to do like the review and review the campaign and the multiplayer." And I was like, "No." And they were like, "What?" I was like, "Nobody cares about the campaign." It's like you have to review the campaign. I was like, "No, I don't. That's silly. Why
No
would
one
I
is
do that?"
no one's playing these games for the lore.
Which I feel bad because I have friends that like that write that are writers at Activision, like are writing on Call of Duty and stuff, and it's like ain't nobody playing
I mean,
through
it's
that.
the same thing with League of Legends. Like, we both know Jared, and he writes League of Legends stuff, and he's like, "Not a lot of people care about that either. They just care."
I know more about about League lore than I do about playing the game, for sure, especially now that Arcane's out and they're doing all of like the expand, and they're doing the stuff with Marvel and all the expanded media stuff. And it made me happy because like I've always loved like a lot of the character designs and a lot of the character stories they do for League and for the characters that they make over at Riot. But I feel the same way about Blizzard games, where it's like I don't anymore because fuck Blizzard, but and that's my opinion, and I can't speak for the Evil Geniuses channel or whatever, but I can tell you this: fuck Blizzard.
No.
And
EG is like the best company to work for because most of our management is women. So
great. So we can all say fuck Blizzard. But when Overwatch came out, I was like, man, I really hope this takes off so I can watch the TV show or read the comics or watch the movie about the smart monkey and the good hamster, because I want to know about that, but I don't want to play the game. That's not my kind of thing.
the worst part of League is the game. There you go, right in there. Yeah. I've never played it, but I loved Arcane, and like I've read about like the champions and stuff because I had to like do like a little explain a champion thing in like 30 seconds, and I started like Googling stuff. I was like, some of this shit is actually really cool.
It's really cool. Like right now they're doing Star Guardians again, which is like, everything is, all the skins for the characters are alternate realities. And like the Star Guardians are like some of like the most popular champions, but like as magical girls. And like whenever they put it out, they do like whenever it's Star Guardian time, they do like a new visual novel. And so there's a visual novel to play through in the League launcher. And I'm just like, I love this. I wish I cared more about the core game so I could love this stuff more.
When I hear Star Guardian, I think of those Star Fairies toys we had when we were kids, where you'd press the button, they would spin off. Yeah.
So that was one of those. Okay, so not to digress too hard into gendered toys, but let's talk a little bit about gendered toys, because those toys, the Star Sprites or whatever they were just they took the parts that they used for ripcord helicopters for boys, which had been like popular toys for years.
And they were like lady versions of them.
Yeah, because girls don't think helicopters are cool. Why would they like to have their own helicopter? What? Of course they would. Why wouldn't they? It was like when they wanted to make troll dolls for boys, and so they gave them like bazookas. I don't know if you remember this, but there was like,
what if we give them a gun?
Yeah, they immediately gave troll dolls like sunglasses and guns, and they were like, these are troll dolls for boys. And I was like, I don't know, man. It feels like if a kid wants a troll doll, you can just buy him a troll doll.
Like, we have Game Boys, but not Game Girls. Well, how about this Game Boy, but it's purple? There you go.
A lady color?
That'll be
for
a lady
you?
color, a pink one. There we go.
Yeah.
Those fairies were dope until they flew off and hit something.
I mean, same with the helicopters, which were like, they were either going to hit somebody's window and they'd get so mad and they'd yell at your parents and then they'd take it away, or it would get stuck in a tree or on a roof, and it was just like, goodbye, helicopter.
Yeah, way too many toys when we were kids were very dangerous or gross. I remember that.
We were right on the line, I think. We were right on the line of when toys stopped being dangerous but became infinitely more breakable and losable, and I think that was on purpose.
Or shocking. And gross. I remember that doll that would just piss herself.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Potty training Kelly. I like him to be interviewed.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about babies. I don't know how to tell you about babies, Lisa, because guess what? They piss.
They do, but
that's all they do. My sister had a toy that was a puppy, and you would pull open the puppy's stomach, and you would see how many puppies the puppy had, and the size of the litter was a surprise. And so, like, if you got really lucky, the stuffed dog that you bought, you would rip open its belly, and it would give birth to, like, if you were lucky, they could have as many as 5 smaller stuffed dogs inside of it. Terrifying. And I remember it was very terrifying. And she's like 4 years younger than me. I want to say she was like 7, and I was like 11, and I was just old enough to understand why it was weird. Whereas she was 7, and she was just like, oh, the puppy's having babies. And I'm just like, that is not a cool toy.
Our Garbage Pail Kids, I remember those too.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Flannel Fries is saying the name of the gnomes, the troll dolls for boys, were stone protectors. They had the little stones in their tummies.
I'm really glad that it took our generation to realize that all these toys were fucked up. Because yes, all the toys when I was a kid. Luckily, like I was raised very tomboyish. Like Like we talked about this. Like my earliest memories, like playing Nintendo with my dad, and
Yeah.
like that was basically
You
my
and
whole
I will
life.
often text each other like a shirt we bought, and I'll just be, and the other one will be like, "Oh yeah, I just bought that shirt."
Or
Because
like a cat shirt.
yeah, because I guess you lean a little mask, and I guess I lean like a little femme, and so like we wind up buying the same clothes.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like I told you, I either dress like a dad or a slut. Like that is
Mhm.
there's no in between in my
Listen,
fashion.
it's a powerful vibe.
It is. You're the same way, so it's great,
Yeah.
Today is
Well,
obviously your slut day.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I lean slut. If I do, I think that's cool, but I think it's mostly just dad.
Yeah, so you do have
It's
it's a good dad vibe though. Like there's some
thanks.
really cringy dad vibes, but you got a good dad vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I still
Thank
haven't got
you.
I still haven't gotten the daddy shirt, but like there's also a thing about wearing men's button-up shirts as a tall, broad-shouldered woman that makes you feel
Mhm.
really powerful. I'll say that.
You're doing like a Sigourney Weaver in the '80s thing.
Yeah, or
You
like,
know what I mean?
Miami drug dealer, either one of those. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like, but that's my dad core. And I obviously got that from my dad. It's so funny because anytime we like go shopping for my dad, all he wants is Barnes and Noble gift cards or nerd shirts.
Yep.
Like that is the entire thing. And my mom is just like, I just want candles and flowers and something that'll make me cry. Like that's just like the such a big, and my sister definitely was the pageant girl growing
Yeah.
up. Super cute, popular girl in high school. Now she has a wonderful family, and I was a weird tomboy that didn't know what I was until I was 30. So
I think that's the best way to be. I think that's the
Sigourney
best way to be.
Lisa.
If you know who you are too young, you get stuck there, I think. And I like that I spent way more time searching for what my actual vibe and what I wanted to be was. Because I
Which
think
is
then when you hit on it, you're just like, "Oh yeah, this is who I am."
nerdy
Whereas like
dog dad.
which is nerdy dog dad?
Yeah,
Is that my vibe?
it is. I do love your dog matching dog t-shirts with your dog.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
We do wear matching out only for special occasions, but we do have a couple matching outfits.
That's the best thing about getting older. I mean, I know we're still young. I hate when people make me feel old. They'd be like, you're in your 30s, like you got to grow up." I'm like, "Why? I'm fine." Like if something bad happens to me health-wise, I'll take care of it. But like I'm still
What
young.
what
Like
do
I still
people
got
mean by that? I want them to qualify and quantify what they mean by that.
I
If you're paying your bills and I'm paying my bills, what is the difference?
it's the whole
Explain what being an adult is if we're both keeping up with all of our
right
responsibilities, but you are
because
when people say
are you
be an adult, they mean live more like me. And
like
it's like,
settle down basically.
yes. But settled down into what? I am very settled down. I've
I
settled
know.
down into a lovely apartment full of Nendoroids. Like that's
Nendoroids.
like I've settled down. Like I have my place. I have my things. I don't collect cookware.
No,
I don't have like a lot of La Crusade cookware. I
I
have
am
some.
I am very like go with the flow. There's no rush,
Yeah.
like it took me until my 30s to really figure. You know
But
what?
I
I'm
don't even
happy
like
where I'm
but I don't
at,
even like and I'm not coming at you for saying this, but I don't even like
How
saying I'm
dare.
not in a rush
Yeah.
because that still implies that whatever they're doing is the goal. That whatever they're doing is not the
That is
finish line for
true.
me.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
Though I would like to own a house. Like that is a goal that
Well, I did not always want to own a house, but now with the horrible state of capitalism and the nightmare handbasket that we are quickly descending into hell, uh, I do now want a home just so when it all goes down, they can't take it away from me. Whereas right now, living in an apartment complex, I'm like, I don't know, man. Somebody could probably knock on my door tomorrow and be like, "We've decided to throw you out because of reasons," and there wouldn't be much I could say.
Me is more like I just want a garden. But I want my own garden. Like that's very old lady in me. Is
Yeah.
like I just want to have more bigger home for my plants and my cats, but
All I want is a little yard for my dog. If my dog had
yeah.
a little yard to run around in where I could just like open a door. I tried to put a dog door on like my back patio door. I have like a little my apartment has like a little balcony patio thing. And I don't like to be outside in the heat, but the dog does. And I tried putting a dog door in. You can buy these very special for apartments because, you can't mess with an apartment door. You can buy these very special for apartment doors, inserts for a sliding glass door that you connect to the lock and then lock your door. You know what I mean? It's like an extra
Yeah,
pane of
it's like
door. And the bottom of it has a dog door on it. And I tried to get him to go through the dog door, and he has lived 15 years, almost his entire life. He will be gone soon, unfortunately, I'm sure. But because he has lived so much of his life without a dog door, it just sat there for days. I was like, I spent
so
way
much
too much
money.
money on a pane of glass with a flap at the bottom. You will walk through the flap, please. And he just couldn't figure it out.
Because you got to walk through it first.
Huh?
You got to walk through it first, so he
Well,
knows.
I tried to show him. I was like, look, it opens, come through, have a treat. Like, I tried everything. But then, even if he wanted to go through the door, he won't stay out on the porch without me. Like, if I go inside, he's like, oh, cool, we're going inside. I was like, no, you can do what you want.
No. Do whatever you want, sir. You don't have to follow me.
You can do whatever you want. And he's like, no. You make the decisions, and I am cool with that. I'm too old to make my own decisions now. And I'm just like, okay.
I really want a dog so bad. Like, I want a dog because I think I'd be a great dog owner. But like I said, I have an apartment with a porch. Like, I would feel bad to have it be in my apartment and not have a place to like run around,
I tell you, sometimes I wish I was more of a cat person. We had cats growing up, and cats are great because, like, if I want to go on a 1 day, 2 day trip, because I got to travel a lot for work sometimes, and it's like, if I have to go away for 2 days, I can do that with a cat. With my dog, it's like, he's just too dumb. He can't do it. Dogs can't do that on their own.
I mean, my cats are pretty dumb too, but but it's like somebody just has to come by once a day, make sure they're not dead, and like feed them.
Basic survival, they understand. If I left this guy alone for 2 days, it would be a nightmare. It would be over for him.
He would just be like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It is easier. I feel like it's easier to get someone to watch a dog than a cat, though.
Sure.
People get more excited to watch dogs. Otherwise, they're like, I'm just gonna feed your cats. You don't give a shit about me. Like, I can't go on a walk with it. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Right. What you're asking me to do is drive to your house like once a day and just put a handful of food out for your cats and then leave.
I think that's like the one thing that the reason why I've stayed where I stay so long. I've been in King County my whole life, and like I know that I have like opportunities in other places, but it's like my parents live 10 minutes from me. And it's so convenient to have them do like, Mom, I don't have anyone to watch my cats. Can you do it? Yeah, okay. And I'm like, thank you. It's just so much, just easy to have them take care of it for me. I did get cats at a pretty bad time. Like, I didn't have any cats for like the first year that I was living in my apartment, and I was like getting stressed, and the minute I got them, I started traveling more.
Yeah.
For like work and comedy, and I was like, God damn it, Lisa.
But once again, that's totally fine because they're cats. They'll acclimate and they're cool with it. Luckily, Dagger is very small and travels well.
That's such a great name for a dog.
Yeah, he's Dagger Cannonball Thunderfang is his full name.
Carboni.
No, I didn't. No, he was not birthed by me. He's not. I gave him his own family name. But yeah, my friends like to watch him because he's tiny and well behaved, which is great. It's just a matter of like driving halfway across LA to drop him off with people.
My cats are named Zura and Katsu, but I call them Big Boy and Little Chunk. And I also call Zura Kickflip because she's kind of a kickflip. And there's Bear, there's Ralph Wiggum. We call him Ralph Wiggum. Cats, like, they don't stick with a name. Like, dogs have an identity. Cats are just like...
I don't know if you know, but Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote a musical about that very thing called Cats.
And you've seen it 9 times, right?
In the theater.
In theaters.
In the theater, I've seen the film version of Cats 9 times.
Did you do it because of 9 Lives? Was that the reasoning?
So I was doing it because number 1, it's genius. And then number 2, the Alamo Draft House was doing rowdy screenings where it's basically like going to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but it's like Cats. So everybody's screaming. They have like weird snacks and drinks and like theme stuff and prizes. And It was really cool. And if you went 9 times, they gave you like a coin.
They gave you a cat.
They gave you like a they were like, here you go, motherfucker. Have a responsibility. No, they would give you like this little coin. And I didn't get to do it before the pandemic. And then 2 weeks ago, they did one more rowdy screening. And I got to go for 9. They don't have the coins anymore, but I was like, I don't care. I know.
Okay, but is it actually worth seeing 9 times?
I can't answer that for you. Do you know what I mean? Like that's something that everybody has to answer for themselves. Because here's the thing. If I tell you that Cats is a good movie, I'm not lying to you. But I can also tell you that Cats is a horrible film, and I'm not lying to you.
What about Morbius, though?
Here's what I love about Cats. I mean, it's always Morbin time, but here's what I can tell you about Cats. Cats is one person who got $200 million and some of the most famous and gifted performers in the world, and did exactly what he wanted to do with that $200 million. And you can see it. And I love things like that. I love movies like that where you watch it. Like, it's like when Tim Burton did Batman Returns and everybody hated it. And I was like, do it, man. Do the greatest Batman movie ever made.
We also talk about a movie like that in my chat all the time called Movie 43. Do you remember that?
Now, Movie 43, I fucking hate. Movie 43
I hate
sucks.
I do, but it's exactly what it is, where it's like you're taking all these actors that have these contracts and making them do the worst things possible.
Right. That's actually it's worth watching once just to see what you can make people contractually do if you scam them.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
You get to do something like that. You get to run a grift like that exactly once. And that guy did it, you know?
I don't know. Like, we talk about watching in the Discord. I'm like, I don't think we should watch it at all.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think we should watch it, but I think you should see it.
Everybody go off and watch it on your own time. This is not a group activity that we should do together.
I don't need to experience people's reactions to that movie at all.
Absolutely not.
We did do a Discord watch party though, and we rewatched, at least for me, but it was new to some people, but we watched Grandma's Boy. And I haven't seen Grandma's Boy since it like came out, and so it's kind of.
How is it? Can I ask? There's a specific time right around Grandma's Boy, right around the American Pie tidal wave, when everything was a teen sex comedy again.
Extremely problematic.
Where all of a sudden movies from the late 90s, early 2000s became more offensive than movies from like the 50s and 60s.
Especially an Adam Sandler produced movie. You know what, though? We talked about this. It actually is not bad. There's only one scene in it that's like, where it's like he gets that guy from Africa, and it's like obviously a really bad stereotypical African trope. But the bad part of the movie is not the offense of it. It's the fact that the main character ends up with the girl after he has harassed her multiple times, saying, "How are you a girl working in gaming? You're a really hot girl."
Oh, the whole thing.
Like, oh my God, stop.
The dude who's like the Matrix guy, and like all of this stuff. Like I
loved him though.
It was like very like video games were almost there in people's minds. And this was like the last gasp of like, what a bunch of nerd dork loser jerks. But maybe they're not all bad. You know?
You know what? The best part about the movie is that they have a bunch, because it's obviously like a movie of its time. So there's a lot of Metal Gear Solid 3 and Resident Evil 4 shit. There's there's so many, like pointing out all like the little Easter eggs you see in gaming was probably the best part of that.
Adam Sandler, I think at that period of time, was actually extremely into video games, because he did that movie
Pixels.
No, he did that movie where Pixels is obviously a masterpiece, and we can put a pin in that and talk about it later. But he did a movie where he played like a 9/11 first responder who was traumatized, and he was playing Shadow of the Colossus the whole time.
Which movie was that?
I can't remember the name of it, but he brought Shadow of the Colossus to the filmmaker and was like, "This is the game this guy should be playing. It's a great metaphor for this, because you're taking down these giant towers of like bosses." And I was just like, damn, Adam Sandler with the good pull. Who knew? So I
But
think he
yeah.
actually does like video games.
But yet there's like no good video game movies. Like
I'm trying
I
to
can't
think. I do enjoy. It's a bad Super Mario Brothers movie, but the Super Mario Brothers movie is very good. Do you know what I mean?
It
Great
is, but
film, bad Super Mario movie.
yeah, it's like a thing where it's a great film, but not because it's Mario.
Right. It's like a really good cyberpunk dystopia movie, but it's a terrible,
My
terrible
mom
Mario Brothers movie.
accidentally called John Leguizamo John Luigi Gamo.
I mean, he's sort of a method actor, so I think at least during that time you could have called him that.
Yeah, there are entertaining video game movies. We talked about that movie Gamer. Do you remember that movie Gamer with Gerard
Oh my
Butler?
God, yes. Yes. Do you remember even in Triple X, the whole deal with Vin Diesel's character was like he knows how to do stuff because of video games. Like, and there are parts in the movie in Triple X where he's like, it's heat seeking and he's by a pipe. I know this because of the deathmatch game I play. And it's like, oh. I'm trying to think if there are good. Are there good? I think the first Resident Evil is a fun movie, but it has nothing to do with Resident Evil.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's just like a zombie movie.
Yeah. But that's something that like Paul W.S. Anderson does. He's the guy that makes all those movies where like he'll get the license to a movie and make it really cheap, and it'll sort of have something because he's the guy that also did Alien versus Predator. And he's like, yeah, I know what aliens and predators are. Yeah. I got this.
I also turned off Detective Pikachu. Everyone hated me for that. I couldn't get into it.
Lisa, Detective Pikachu is an excellent film.
I just couldn't. I don't know. I just couldn't.
It's very good and fun.
It's.
What didn't you like about it?
I probably will rewatch it. I think I just didn't like the more realistic depictions of Pokemon.
Oh, I thought those were fun. I thought it was fun how unsettling some of them are.
Also, Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu just didn't do it for me. It was
but that's the joke, right? Is like he's not he's the only Pokemon that doesn't sound like a Pikachu. Like there are other Pikachus in the movie and they don't sound like that.
Yeah, that is
like that's
true,
the gag.
But I'll have to. I don't know. Maybe I'll try rewatching it one.
Because all the other ones sounded exactly like they did in the cartoon, and it was hilarious.
Hey, Edge of Tomorrow. Well, that's technically not a video game movie.
No, that's based on a novel.
But that's a good movie that was horribly advertised.
Yes,
and I was like, everyone should watch it.
Edge of Tomorrow. It was one of those titles that it just doesn't mean anything. And then when they brought it out, do you remember when they brought it out for rental and on VOD, they called it Live, Die, Repeat?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the name.
I was like, why did they call it Edge of Tomorrow?
The book is called All You Need Is Kill, which I love. Yeah.
And then they just kept changing the name.
I don't know. It's weird. But I did enjoy that movie. But that's not a video game movie. I'm trying to think of like, what's a good video game?
I mean, there's video games. I mean, there's like Witcher and stuff, but those are technically like
it's a series.
Yeah, that's like series. And I don't really know what Netflix thing is like. Let's make live actions of everything. And I'm like,
I mean, I liked I thought the Sonic the Hedgehog movies are cute.
I love Jim Carrey in them.
I enjoyed them a lot. The first one I thought was really fun.
I never saw the second one, but I really liked the first one. And I love that it was like the only movie that came out that year because of COVID. And
everybody's last movie was like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
It was either like, everybody's like, well, what was the last movie you saw in a theater before the pandemic? And everybody was either like Rise of Skywalker, Cats, or Sonic the Hedgehog. And I was like, what a weird group of movies to go out on, society.
It's also video games are really hard to make movies anyways because video games are so long and there's so much. A lot of them have like way too much like convoluted like lore and shit, and then they have to figure out a way to like direct that as a film, which is why I'm like, just make series. But
now,
like
somebody mentioned in the chat that Angry Birds is cinema distilled into its unadulterated purest form, which I think is a goof. But I'll tell you this: Angry Birds 2 is surprisingly good.
I didn't even see Angry Birds 1.
Skip it. Watch Angry Birds 2.
I just thought of a video game movie that was cute. Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, technically some real video game characters show up in it. Yeah.
It's a video game themed movie that obviously the second one was but the first one I thought was cute.
But if we're doing like video game theme movies, like how loosey-goosey do we get with that though?
I'm talking
about movies based on a real video game, because then I can pull in
True.
anything where anybody plays video games. How did you feel about? I think the first Mortal Kombat is actually a perfect film.
I rewatched it a couple years ago, not sober, and was like, "This is awful."
You can't.
Why?
What kind of not sober were you?
Very high.
Oh, if you get too high, that movie goes on forever.
Well, also, it's that stupid thing that I hate that TVs do now, where it's like we automatically format everything to 4K and HD, so everything looks terrible because these movies are not made to be fucking 60 frames per second. So why are we automatically making them?
Yeah.
So it looks terrible.
I think it looks good in HD still. I haven't seen it in 4K, but I think it still looks good in HD. That's the
for
only good
Speed?
movie I think that Paul W.S. Anderson ever made was the Mortal Kombat movie.
Silent Hill movie.
Mm-hmm.
That one was actually like terrifying. I never played Silent Hill, but I watched a playthrough of it because I was too scared to play it, and I really loved the lore in Silent Hill. So I actually liked the movie.
Yeah, they tried. I think at the time, for the amount of respect video game adaptations were getting at the time, there was a lot of Silent Hill in Silent Hill. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you were going to make a Silent Hill movie now and it was that movie, I would be like, fuck you, play Silent Hill. But for back then, they put a lot of Silent Hill lore into it.
What about Uncharted? Did you watch the Uncharted movie?
I'm sorry, you keep getting real quiet on me. I don't know if it's just me.
No, it's my stupid mic.
Oh, okay.
It's my mic. It's just, they hate it at the end. Anyway. Did you watch that?
I would give the Uncharted movie a solid, I would give it a 6 out of 10. I wasn't mad at it, but it wasn't the Uncharted movie I wanted.
I never played the Uncharted series. I probably will, though. I missed out on a lot.
Wait, so have you seen the Uncharted movie?
No.
Okay. I would be interested if you would be willing to do it as an experiment.
You didn't give me a crappy mic. I just don't have I have a plug that's broken. I don't have a mixer. I am a baby streamer who is learning.
I would be interested in you watching the Uncharted movie before you played any of the games and telling me what you think of the Uncharted movie.
I mean, that's like me playing Final Fantasy VII Remake and not playing the original. And I was like, I hate this game. It sucks.
Oh, you're not going to like the original either.
Yeah, I think I actually would like the original more than the remake, because
probably.
Here's the thing is, when it comes to like you said, you love it when it's like you gave this guy a lot of money and did exactly what they want to do with it, and I love them for that. I love it when I play something that I'm like, whether or not I like how it was, I can tell when somebody pours a lot of heart into something. And even if they're like, this might disagree with the audience. To me, Final Fantasy VII Remake felt very corporate and it felt like we got to just blow this out and prolong it. I said it's like the Hobbit movies of video games. That's
okay, but even, okay, and I get what you're saying, and it's because they do want to do this as like 3 parts or whatever. But here's what I'll tell you. That first one, the first version of Final Fantasy VII, also a little bloated, especially by today's standards. Like, one of the things, and I'm not harshing on anybody's love of Final Fantasy VII by any means. It's kind of like, you're a Nintendo person, you're a Zelda person. So everybody's like, oh my God, Ocarina. Because it was groundbreaking at the time. It was the first one a lot of people played. It was a big deal because it changed the way people looked at games like that. Final Fantasy VII, the original one, is the same thing, right? They did a lot of things that nobody had ever done before. But now you've had 20 years of people building off of that. Yeah. And so you're going back to watch it or going back to play it, and it's kind of like, I didn't like it at the time because I wasn't an RPG guy. I wasn't medicated for my ADHD yet, and I did not like any game that was reading in menus.
Yep, I didn't like RPGs until now. Now I'm playing them. That's why I'm playing Earthbound now.
Yeah. I've never liked Final Fantasy VII, and I think it's a bit of a mess, and I didn't really enjoy it, but I totally understand why it's a lot of people's favorite games. And
oh yeah,
I'm not here to yuck your yum or take anything away from you people, but it's as far as I'm concerned, it's a bad game.
But for me, it's like, I only played the remake and not the original, so everyone's looking at it through my eyes. So I have all these people in my chat that are huge Final Fantasy nerds, like expecting these big reactions from me, and I'm like, I'm going from like a directional and a like a mechanical, I guess, standpoint, and I did not like it. I was like,
it's a beautiful looking game. It's, you know what I mean? They put all of Square always puts all the money into all the pixels, and you gotta love that. But the reactions that people were looking for in you were reactions to the
Nostalgia.
changes.
And
Well,
yeah.
nostalgia or the changes, right? Like they wanted you to walk into Midgar, into the city, and like look around and be like, "Oh my god, look at how huge Midgar is now." And it's like, dude, I've never seen Midgar before. If you
Yeah.
tell me this is what Midgar looks like, I believe you. Great,
I
Midgar.
definitely got some crap from people who are like, "How did you not play the original?" I'm like, "Because I didn't have a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't play it. Like,
Be-
people forget.
because kids don't have unlimited funds
Well, here's the thing too, is
or
that
control of their lives.
before I was gonna say we're gonna take a break here in a second, but before we take a break, it's also because a lot of people who are younger do not realize that things weren't accessible back then, including anime and stuff. Like you either had one or the other. Like you didn't just if you had a PlayStation and a Nintendo, you had money and privilege. Like I had
Right.
one or the other. Most people didn't even have one. Like I was lucky to even have one. So
No,
now,
my parents, the parents on the block would like coordinate with each other.
right?
And like I got Super Nintendo and I was lucky because my birthday came first with me and my really good friend my really good friend well, because I haven't seen the kid since I was 8, but my really good friend David Beckerman, that's who it was. David Beckerman got a Genesis and I got a Super Nintendo. We couldn't both have the same thing. It wasn't allowed. Right? And so
Yep.
like if I wanted to play Sonic the Hedgehog, I had to go to David Beckerman's house. And if he wanted to play Mario, he had to come to my house.
We were the Nintendo family. My cousins were the Sega family, and my other cousins were the PlayStation family. And so we only played other things during family parties.
Yes.
And so yeah, so like people are like, "How did you not play the original?" I'm like, "Cause it now you can play it on the fucking Switch, but back
Right.
then you had to like literally own it or know someone who owned it. Like things weren't easy. Same thing with the anime. You had to rent a $40 VHS or buy a VHS with 4 episodes on it that
Well,
were poorly translated.
and like you gotta ride your bike up to the store to rent a video game.
A video game to the good old Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Okay, well, that was a great interview.
Thank you. You're gone, I think, for me. I don't know if you're gone for everybody.
No, I'm not. This mic likes to turn down if I yell too loud. Maybe if I
Yeah.
stand further back, it'll just stop.
Yeah, give it a cool lean and see what happens.
I'll give it a cool lean.
Yeah.
We have a quick video we want to show for Games for Love. I've been very bad at plugging in it this entire stream, but that's why we have wonderful stream elements here to do that for me. So we're going to just watch this video real quick, and then we're going to come back and continue this chaotic conversation that we've been having. That is going very well, and I'm really happy for you to be here. So we'll get back to you in just a couple minutes.
We went to a children's hospital to take a look at the distraction therapy and gaming needs that they had. And we had an event where kids could come down, play games, and be kids, and just escape for a little bit. And we had Super Smash Bros. On this really big screen, and this little boy, Drew, comes in, and he started playing Smash with us, played for hours. And he actually stayed until it was time to go, and the Child Life team came in and said, "Hey, Drew, it's time to go, buddy." And he said, "Oh, man, all right." And so we gave him a gift bag, and as he was going out, he stopped for a second and paused, and then he turned around, and then what he said changed our lives. He said, "You know, this is just what I needed." And everybody just kind of looked around at each other and just melted and just said, "Oh, well, hey man, well, have a good rest of your day." And the Child Life team told us later that that was the first time in over a week that they had seen him smile. And that was the moment that we knew that this is why we do what we do. It matters.
Can we make a move? Overthinking, you and I. What do we have to lose?
And welcome back to the stream, everybody. Thank you for checking out the Games for Love video. Let me just go over what the charity is real quick in case you guys missed it earlier, but they provide video games and consoles to hospitalized children so that they have distractions from like their daily routines, which is really cool. And right now, because of COVID, they kind of rely on donations because, there's visitation, limits right now. So if you guys are interested in donating, please check out the links that we have here on the stream elements. But yeah, I mean, no pressure, just something
I'll
that
pressure you because I don't work here. I'll pressure you. Everybody shut up. Everybody, just go to the link right now and just give money. What do you got? Like,
give
what do
them
you got in your pockets? You got $1? What do you got to give? Go give $1.
give them a Final Fantasy copy of Final Fantasy 7, and that will last them forever because that game I hear is like way too.
Comes on like 3 discs.
Does it really?
Yeah, it was either 3 or 4 discs.
That's annoying.
It was a lot of discs.
A lot.
But everybody, shut up and go give money.
Yes, shut up and go give money. Anyways, welcome back. We were just during that commercial talking about our dad.
No, we're not talking. We're not talking again until somebody gives money.
It's just dead silent.
We're gonna be completely silent until all of you go give money.
Yes, from Anthony Carboni, A Little Tired. That is your title card. No one's gonna do anything.
I have no confirmation from anyone.
Let's just sit in silence until we have one notification.
If I don't get a single notification, I'm gonna be so livid. I'm gonna be so livid.
Everyone who watches us doesn't have money, so there we go. Now we're just
What? We need to make a more expensive show.
Yeah, come on.
For more expensive people with disposable income. People with Funko money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're buying their own Funkos.
The money we have, that's why I use OBS Ninja for production. Because we have so much money.
Anthony Carboni Made Me just donated $25. Thank you very much. We can continue the show.
Yay! Thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it so much.
That's honestly very kind.
It was very kind.
That. And also, I would not do the show. So
you're like, bye. I would if there wasn't a charity. You're like, I'm not going to be on Lisa's show. This is stupid.
No, I'm doing it for the kids.
You're doing it for the children. You're doing it for the consoles.
Yeah, you're fine.
Well, during the break, or actually just in general, we do like to talk about our dad shirt collection. And I was going to say, I'm a very big fan of your shirt.
Thank you. Yeah. This is from the OG dad shirt store, Bonobos.
We honestly probably wear the same size.
Probably.
Yeah. You can borrow my shirts anytime you want,
Thanks. I appreciate it.
I will say the cool thing about these shirts is that they do sell shorts in the matching style. So it's like wearing a romper, but you can actually comfortably remove it when you use the bathroom.
Haven't done a matching set yet. Thinking about it. Haven't done it. I might take that plunge. At some point. But I don't wear shorts very often.
Yeah. I don't like wearing shorts either because my legs are so long and noodly. I think I just look like Slender Man. Oh, Ish, thank you so much for the donation.
Woo!
Yay!
It's happening. Now, I do like a jumpsuit. I own a jumpsuit and I will wear a jumpsuit. But I don't wear shorts though. It's like a long pants jumpsuit.
Oh, was it for a cosplay or were you just feeling fun?
No, it's just a jumpsuit.
It's just a jumpsuit? I want to see a picture of this jumpsuit. I don't own anything fun.
Yeah, there's a place called Big Bud Press here in LA that makes amazing adult jumpsuits, and you just hey, jump into a jumpsuit.
Jump into
this
a jumpsuit.
Summer. Snap into a jumpsuit.
It's easy for men to. I shouldn't say men. It's easy for anyone with a wiener to say that because I cannot use the bathroom in a jumpsuit. I have to get fully naked to go to the bathroom.
Oh no, Lisa. Lisa, jumpsuits work the same for everyone. I have to pull mine down as well.
You can't just like zip it down?
No, because the zip goes only down so far.
Oh.
I would need some sort of a periscope apparatus to attach down there in order to get it to go up and around.
I have a very fun jumpsuit. When I was in Vietnam, I went to Hanoi, which is like the land of like, you got to get a suit made, you got to get an outfit
Yeah,
made.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dealers everywhere. Well, I was like so drunk one night, and this woman just like pulled me into her shop and was like, "I'm gonna make you something. I'm gonna give you half off." And I was like, "Okay." I think she thought I was sad. I think that was it. And I had,
I think she thought you looked like an easy mark is what it is.
oh,
Because
I
what
am.
you don't know what half off is.
Oh, I
She's like
am.
she's like, that one's drunk and alone. Here we go.
I am a sucker for good deals too. I'm like, if half off was like $200, it'd be like, well, it was half off. Well, normally 38. Well, I paid 200, so it doesn't matter. It was like a $30 jumpsuit, and I still
Yeah.
have it, and it's very fun looking. It's got like a bunch of flowers and all. And at the time, I was like, this is amazing. It looks so cool. And then I wear it when I'm sober, and I'm like, I look like a drink from I look like a Hawaiian drink you order from like a tea
Everybody
bar.
everybody looks cool in a jumpsuit. Jumpsuits are so
Your
comfortable. We
jumpsuit
should
doesn't come with a catheter.
now if that had been an upgrade, maybe I would have done. My Spider-Man cosplay has I paid extra for what they call the U zipper. So in the crotch there's a U-shaped zipper, so you can actually pee out of the Spider-Man costume without having to take the whole thing off, because mine has the face, and when you get one with the face, it's all one piece. Otherwise, it looks weird.
This is great,
So
great content for the EG channel, talking
so
about peeing in suits.
this is great. So, but something I figured out, I paid extra, and I was like, why do you have to pay extra for this zipper? Why doesn't everybody just want this zipper? Just put it in the cost of the Spider-Man costume. Here's why. If you're wearing your Spider-Man costume right, hey, dudes, people with penis equipment, let me tell you, if you've never cosplayed before in spandex anything, you got to wear something called a dance belt. Okay, you wear you
Also,
wear.
shout out to Darius for the $50 donation during
Thank you,
Penis
Darius.
Talk. We really
Hey,
appreciate it.
welcome to Penis Talk with Lisa Wallen. Is this a weekly thing?
Yes.
This show? Yeah, Penis Talk with
Bi-week,
Lisa Wallen. Follow now.
bi-weekly Penis Talk. Anyway.
So you have to wear you have your underwear, but then you have to wear, even if you wear like, briefs, you have to wear a dance belt, which is basically padding that keeps everybody from seeing the shape of your junk flapping around in the Spider-Man costume. Because, hey, that is not friendly neighborhood Spider-Man content.
No, and it's always bugged me when I see people cosplay in
And they
tight
don't
suits
know.
and they
And they
don't
don't
know.
know.
And I'm just like, man, I'm not here to shame because, it's human anatomy, but I
Yeah.
don't need to see, also don't need to see the sweat.
But that's the thing is like, it's like, hey, if you're comfortable and you want to be out there, that's cool. That's not what we mind. What we mind is like, then your Spider-Man costume becomes a penis costume. Any costume you're wearing that is spandex like that, if you're not wearing a dance belt, the costume is, here's this guy's penis.
Well,
So
here's
like you're taking away from your own costume. So when you're wearing the dance belt, you unzip the U zipper and it's just dance belt underneath. And I was like, oh, this is why nobody pays for the zipper, because I still have to take this thing off.
just like an extra thing you have to do.
They got me. It was
so I
like an
don't-
upsell that like, it's like when you go to a car dealership and they're like, do you want the really good windshield wiper blades? And it's like, no, I don't want the really good windshield
Well,
wiper
like
blades.
women's fashion right now, like bodysuits are huge. I love bodysuits. I love a good
Mhm.
bodysuit, and they're all smart. They have like the clip on the bottom. Perfect.
Yeah.
I accidentally bought one that didn't, and I was like, I'll still wear this. Worst decision of my life. I had no idea how
Yeah.
to take it off.
Oh my God.
I just looked like a giant baby. It was the worst thing ever.
Like a cartoon baby from the 1940s.
I'm just walking around a onesie, and it was just, it was the worst. Yeah,
Just a little butt flap down like the fucking Morton Salt girl.
90% of the time, the reason why I wear crop tops is because it's just the easiest thing, I just don't have to do any extra work with it, so
Well, the only Spider-Man I do now is I do Peter B. Parker from Spider-Verse, because that's Spider-Man in sweatpants, and that's
the best
so good.
Spider-Man, and
It's the best Spider-Man.
it's also the best Spider-Man movie, and
Yes.
I haven't seen all of them, and I'm still like, that's the best one, right?
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
You don't need to see all of them to know that. Which ones have you not seen?
I haven't seen any of the Tom Holland ones.
Oh, okay. So you're behind.
Yeah, I'm
on your
very
Spider.
behind.
Were you just like, I don't need any more Spider-Man? Which is, it's fine to say because I think a lot of people felt that way before Tom Holland.
Think it's a Spider-Man. I think I'm just burnt out of superhero shit. There's just
Yeah.
so much. It's just such. It's like there's no surprise anymore. It's just all the same. And I hate saying that because I hate having opinion on something I haven't consumed in. Like
Mhm.
like I haven't watched a superhero movie consistently since like Iron Man or maybe Thor, and then like
Yeah,
the
I would say
Avenger
a
game.
lot's changed. A lot's changed
Yeah, and
since
it's just
2008.
yeah, that's the thing is that, like, I just don't like, I watch, like, Avengers and the Endgame stuff, but, like, me, it's just, like, it just, doesn't really interest me as much anymore because, like, it's just
Well,
there was so much as once, and it was just a little
but
overwhelming, and I just
watching
kinda
but watching Avengers or watching Endgame or something like that, Lisa, is like going to the theater to watch the anime movie when you haven't watched the series. The movie is only good because you've watched the series. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go in because Avengers and Ultron and Endgame and all of those things, those are the big like those are the big crossover events that are like you've watched the series, you've watched the episodes, here's the big fight payoff. It's your
yeah.
big anime battle. So you're just watching the battle with none of the character context. And not all these superhero movies are great. I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, no, I
But
did I was gonna say, sir, I did watch Into the Spider-Verse. I watched it right after Arcane because everyone's like, "You should watch Into the Spider-Verse," and I really liked it, but anyways,
Spider-Verse is the best.
it
But
is
like
good.
yeah, is
I mean, I'm
some
not
of
saying
them are
they're
really good.
my dad's super into, like, Marvel, DC stuff. Oh my god, my dad is all superhero movies, that's all he does, and so we watched a lot of them
Based
together
on the book Batman.
based on the book series, the science fiction book series, The Batman. My dad it's so funny, I think I've mentioned this, but, like, my family is all nerds, and I'm, like, the outcast nerd. Like,
Mm,
my sister and my dad, like, they bond on, like, Star Wars, your thing, ha ha ha, we didn't even talk about Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica. My sister likes, like,
yeah.
Firefly and shit, and then I'm,
Yeah.
like, the weird anime nerd. Like, I'm the outcast nerd in my family. Like, my sister and my dad will, like, get all excited about some, like, new Star Wars movie, new Marvel movie, and they'd be like, "Oh, you haven't seen it yet? Mm."
Well, it's the Glup Shido tweet, right? Have you seen
Right?
the
No, what's that?
it's Marvel fans will really sit through 2 hours of anything and at the end be like, "Holy shit, it's Glup Shido." You know what I
Oh, yeah,
mean? Where it's just like
just
I
a
can't
random
believe
cameo.
yeah, like I can't believe Glup Shido is in this.
Yeah.
I still love the Marvel stuff. I went and saw Love and Thunder for the second time yesterday, but I went and saw it in 4DX.
See, I like the Thor movies. I've seen all of them except for the newest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ragnarok is my favorite MCU movie. I love
Yeah, and
Ragnarok.
that's mine. See, I've seen the good ones, Into the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse and Ragnarok. There you go. Like, there
Love and Thunder is equally good, and the reason I saw it twice is because I went and I saw it in 4DX, which is the one where the seats
you
move and
Blorko.
like the seats move and like wind blows and like when people get hit, you can feel it in your chair. I love it. If you're gonna go see a big budget Hollywood movie, either for your second time or it's one you don't care about very much, just go ride the movie, baby. Go to
So you
4DX and ride the movie.
you'll probably hate me, but I do not like movie theaters. I just don't.
I mean, that's okay.
I feel uncomfortable in them. I think it might be an OCD thing. I just don't wanna sit in a dark room where I don't know what I'm sitting on or
I only
how
go
often they're
to
clean. Yeah.
I only go to movie theaters for things that I really, really, really want to see
Yeah.
usually because we're at the point now with like with I mean Disney Plus is like, hey, if you don't want to watch this Marvel thing in the theater or this Disney thing in the theater, it'll be out on Disney Plus in 45 days. So if you don't care about being like one of the first people to see it, hang out. My TV is big and good.
Yeah, like
I have my good speakers and stuff. Like I'll sit here. It's nice.
yeah, like I watch Dune and the Batman on my TV because I can
Yeah.
also like be gross in
Now
my own couch.
Dune I was waiting for a long time because I'm a Dune guy, and they I
And the
try not to say that because it's like saying you're a Rick and Morty guy. It's like, listen, we all like Rick and Morty, but don't identify as a Rick and Morty fan. Like Dune bros have like a similar reputation, but Dune had scenes that were like in IMAX, but only if you went and saw it in the theater. And they would do this stuff where like all of a sudden it was in IMAX and the screen would just get bigger and it's like Dune, and I'm like, oh my god, it's
They got that
happening.
weird, like, remember those old, like, Dolby Digital fucking the commercials that would just scream in your face?
Yes,
Oh, it's like that big, like,
you got to do.
sound.
I'm telling you, you got to do 4DX because they got strobe lights, they got smoke, the seats move around like a ride.
PHX, that's what it
It's the
was.
best.
Thanks.
No, Dolby had one too. You
I
weren't
think
wrong.
I think THX is the Dolby Digital, what I was
No,
thinking.
but THX has the but they all have something like that.
I love the Simpsons gag of that when
Yeah.
they did it. The last movie I saw in theaters was Gintama, the final movie, and then before that it was Demon Slayer. Then before that it was the My Hero Academia movie. So I think you can get an idea of what I like to see in theaters.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I saw
The Gintama.
I saw Mugen Train in the theater. I saw My Hero One's Justice. I saw that in the theater.
I will say the funny thing about the Gintama movie is that we had one of the largest attended screenings in the US. And
Well,
this is how
Gintama made bank in the US. Gintama like actually was on the box office charts
what was
the
number
first week
one?
it came out.
Well, I love how they advertise it in Japan is that it came out the same time that right after Demon Slayer did. And
Mhm.
so they made the tickets, they had the artist, one of the artists for Demon Slayer draw all the characters as Demon Slayer.
Oh, that's cool. No, I
Yeah.
like when they do that.
Because she loves Sriracha, but there was only 20 people in the audience. And that's what tells me is that, man, the internet is such a bubble because on the internet, everyone's like, Gintama is massive, but in real life, it is not here. But it did do well for an anime movie.
Not just for an anime movie. Like it literally charted on the box office that week here in America, not just in Japan, here in America. Now it was during COVID and not a lot of stuff was coming out, but it was there. It was in top 5 that week, I think.
There is a lot of people in the theater that have never seen Gintama before. I was like, well, here is the whole movie.
Well, look, there's when I used to work at movie theaters when I was a teenager, and there are people that are just like they just go see everything. They don't care. They just like being at the movies.
Was that your first job?
No, my first real job was a clerk at a video game store.
Of course it was. Mine was
Mhm.
Arby's. And then it was Quiznos.
I managed to avoid fast food throughout my teen years. I managed to avoid that. So I'm pretty happy.
But I did work in the electronics department at a grocery store for 5 years, which was so funny because
The
my mom
electronics department at a grocery store.
I did.
No, elaborate up on that.
Fred
what-
Meyer, which
Okay.
is one of the best Kroger stores because they have a home apparel electronics. My mom we used to work for them when we were kids, and they had like bring your child to work day, and she worked in the seafood department. I was just like, I just want to work in the game department. So I literally spend like every year just like putting labels on CDs and games, and then I ended up doing that for like 4 years, and I was like, this is fun.
So
Developing pictures, developing photos.
this was a grocery store, but it was more like the way you're explaining it, it's more like when they have a grocery store inside like a Target or a Walmart. Is that what this was?
But it's imagine a Target with a full-on grocery store though, like bigger than Safeway. Like Fred
But then
Meyer's
the other departments are smaller?
Yeah, like but our electronics department was huge because that was back when DVDs and CDs were thriving.
Mhm.
I mean, it was back when like the Nintendo DS came out, you know, like I worked in the electronics department from 2006 until 2010, which is the prime time for video games. So I loved it. And I got a bunch of like movie posters, but I was also developing film, which was a very interesting time.
Love that.
Great
I worked
call.
at the R Zone, which used to be the video game section of the Toys R Us. This was not the first job I had, but this is one of the jobs I had. And me and all my friends got fired. Like literally well, not me. I just stopped coming into work. I had a tendency to do that as a teenager. Because like
I'm glad
my
you
whole
showed
thing.
up tonight.
Well, thank you. I mean, I don't just flake on stuff, but here's the thing. I figured out very early on when I was a teenager that all of these jobs pay the same and you don't need references because you're 16, 17 years old. They don't expect you to have any. So like I would just not feel like coming into work one day. And so I just wouldn't. And if they fired me, they fired me, and that was okay. Or like if I asked for a day off and they didn't give it to me, I'd just be like, well, I'm taking it off, so let's see what happens. And if I came back and I didn't have a job, that was okay. I would just go work at the next place down the
I
street.
would have envied you. I am such a rule follower. It was unreal when I was younger.
No, F
I
that.
would
That was terrible. But
Oh,
my
yeah.
friends got fired because there was a lot of theft going on, and it was my friends that were mostly responsible for it.
Not
We were
you?
No, actually, I didn't. Okay, occasionally, but not to the extent that they were. I think it actually like when they finally figured it out, my friends had gotten to the point of like grand theft because what they would do is we used to call it the Coke trick. And so what it is we would have a friend come in. We were big fans of the Dreamcast, right?
Jesus.
Nobody was buying Dreamcasts. Everybody was buying PS2s. That's fine. The PS2 was a great system. Dreamcast was very niche. It's still my favorite video game system of all time. So we had this thing where if you came in and you wanted to, like, you were a friend of ours and you came in, we would sell you a Coke and put a Dreamcast in the bag too. And
I
then
want that kind of friend.
and then take the security. And then if security went off, we'd just be like, he's okay. He's okay.
I wish I had friends like that growing up. Here's the thing is I didn't have any gamer friends growing up.
Don't do these things. My friends
was-
nearly got arrested. They
I
were all
was-
banned from Toys. I just want to say this. They were all banned from Toys R Us until they were like 21, but Toys R Us disappeared anyway. But they nearly got prosecuted. It was a huge deal. They nearly got in big trouble. But
That's the real
we-
reason the Dreamcast failed. Is
but
all
we moved a lot of Dreamcasts. I don't mind telling you.
Oh my god. I never did any of that, but I did one time. Like, we used to put the Nintendo DSs on display. People would come in, obviously steal them and run. And one time I filled it up with a bunch of tampons, and a guy took it and flipped me off and left. I was like, have fun with your fucking DS full of tampons. I used to
My
put
friend
some
once
shit-
returned. My friend once returned. He was like, I wonder if this is gonna work. He returned to Game Gear, and it was just full of batteries. So it weighed as much as if there was a Game Gear in there.
and they didn't bother to open
They
it.
didn't open it or look.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I just used to fill up all the Xbox boxes and 360 boxes with garbage. I would literally pour a trash can of garbage in those boxes so that they'd weigh, and I would just watch these shitty little teenagers come in and steal them, and they get home, they literally have a thing full of garbage. And it's
Good.
like, yeah, take that.
What do you think we're displaying this for you idiots to just run out with? You dummies.
Yeah, back when TVs actually weighed like more than 5 pounds. People
I
would-
have
yeah.
on the floor of my apartment right now, by the way, a 250-pound CRT TV that I just got.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We
I
still
had-
have bars at my parents' house.
This guy, I've been looking for a CRT because I have a bunch of old game consoles. My thing that I did to keep myself sane during lockdown was I started modding and repairing old video game consoles. And so I have a bunch of like modded systems, and I really wanted to have like a CRT to play them on. And I've been like looking at Craigslist, and one guy was finally like one day he was like giving away this kind of TV if anybody wants it. And there were like no pictures. He's like, works perfectly, comes with a remote. And I looked it up. Lisa, this is like one of the last CRTs that was ever made. It's like a Sony Trinitron. It was like one of their home theater CRTs.
We still have ours in our parents' basement and it still works. My mom plays Pac-Man on it all the time. I'm like, do you not realize that this is like a gold mine now?
Dude, they're worth so much. Like, I see tiny TVs on eBay, where if they ship them to you, they're gonna break, so you might as well not buy it for $600-700. I got this for free. It does HD. It does 1080 on a CRT.
Christ.
It weighs so much, and it's on my floor because it weighs so much. I got to get somebody up here.
It's
To
like a
help
piano
me-
mover.
Well, because I also had to. This is another reason why I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to show you my apartment. Why I've been moving things so much. I had to clear out an entire closet to have a space in my apartment for this CRT. I live in like a loft. There's nowhere to put a CRT, so I had to like throw it. I have to
See,
throw it
that's
in.
why this is the whole going back to the house. This is why we need houses, because nerds like to have shit.
Yeah, right. Kurizar says has to use component cables. Oh, Kurizar, are you ready? Are you ready?
I have my component cable.
This'll use HDMI or
What?
DVI.
What?
This is like the last one they ever made.
I love that little smirk you just did. Like, you're just like, yeah, no big deal. I got it for free. Dude, that's fucked up. Like,
It's like the best CRT that was ever made, and it's just sitting on my floor right now because it's fucking 300 pounds, and I got to lift it onto this cheap ass to even find like a TV stand now that holds a CRT. I can't hear you. You're muted.
God damn it. God damn it. My parents have like this old TV stand that they still use for it, and the wood itself weighs like 50 pounds.
Yeah, I had to look up specifically, find
don't-
like the one on Amazon that says it will support up to 250 pounds.
They don't make trees like they used to, you know?
No, they don't. Man, Kirzar says PC games are going to look amazing on that. Yes. Digital Foundry just did a thing where they connected all of their modern consoles and all of their PCs to like an HD CRT monitor and played on there. And God, games just look so good on a CRT.
Yeah, like the Oregon Trail. Like
Yeah, like the Oregon Trail. Have you ever seen like a crisp 1080p Oregon Trail?
I think I might
You
throw
think
up
you've
if I saw
forded a
that.
river, but you've never forded a river in your life, Lisa. I'm telling you.
Dude, that's
You
awesome.
think you've cocked a wagon? Eat shit, buddy. You don't know. But no, they were playing like Control and stuff on it, like stuff that has like RTX, because as long as you can like get the HDMI into a CRT, it'll work. God, I'm so excited. I got to get Jared over here. He lives across the street. I got to get him over here and help me move
I
this
love
thing.
Jared. I hope you
know,
told
we all
him
love
I said
Jared.
hi.
I did.
He's like, I did. And he goes, I hate that bitch. I'm just kidding.
No, he said, every week Lisa asks me when I'm going to go visit. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to go to Seattle.
That is a lie. He messages me, I'll come visit soon, I promise, without even me asking him. I'm like,
Wow.
sometimes I just want to say hi, but
I'm getting two different stories here.
I met Jared on the internet prior to like me streaming and all that, and he was like one of my big pushes for streaming. He was like, you need to start streaming, and now he's like,
Look at you now.
Look at you now.
Look at you now.
Recording
in your fancy shirts.
In
with your mic
mixer,
with the volume adjustment.
and my crappy webcam, my bad lighting. So proud of me.
Your lighting and webcam are better than mine.
I'm very cheap. Like I said, like I didn't start streaming until 2 years ago. So like, and then EG hired me last year, and
my stuff's expensive and it looks like shit. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've been working in production my whole life and I look like shit on streams.
I mean, for me, it's like I did stand-up comedy. I never knew anything about audio ever. Like I was like, and when I recorded podcasts, it's like I know what Audacity is. Like that was it. Like everything I have is like all the new shit I have is because of my job. Bless you, EG. But like for me, it's like everything else is like bottom of the barrel. Even my lighting, I don't care.
Yeah. I don't know. I have good stuff and I feel like I'm using it right, but I don't know.
I have a lot of people like hitting me up now, like comedians that did not take advantage of the pandemic and start streaming that want to stream now, and they're asking me about like all this technical stuff, and I'm just like lying, being like, yeah, it's a good mixer. I know what I'm talking about.
Don't lie. Don't lie. Just tell them you don't know. Don't lie to people. They're gonna buy it now.
Good. That's what they get for.
Now wait, are these people that you don't like?
Oh yeah.
Oh okay. I was like a friend is calling you and being like, "Hey Lisa, I'm getting into streaming. Is this a good mixer?" And you're like, "Eat shit, buddy."
People I do like though, I will I'll be like honest with them. I'd be like, or they'll be like, how did your community, like, how did you get so big on streaming? I was like, I've been shit posting about anime for 10 years. And then that happened.
Get good.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, they're like, oh, I don't, no one watches my stream. Like, it's because you don't have a personality people like. I'm sorry.
I don't stream enough on my personal channel. I
would love to watch you stream.
I need a responsibility. I need a deadline and a responsibility, and I need somebody must fail if I don't show up, and that's how you get me to show up. You know what I mean?
What was the last thing that you streamed?
I don't know. It was last month.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I don't know. Could have been anything, really. Who could say?
Do you just stream whenever you feel like it?
Whenever I
Basically.
feel, baby. That's
Oh,
what it is.
well,
That's what it's about.
I
I'm
do
like a
like
leaf. I'm like a leaf on the wind.
I do like that you hang out in my streams. It makes me feel really cool.
Hey, thanks. Oh, it was some of the people from my stream are here, and they're saying it was a video party. We do video parties
Oh, that's cute.
where
I
we
like
try to
call
we
it a
try to
video.
find the we try to find the weirdest videos. We're very listen. A lot of people do media share or whatever. No, we're doing a video party, and video party has a vibe. And if
I'll
you're
have to
like your
check it out.
video has to pass the vibe check. Has to.
Everyone always asks me to do more streams like that, but I'm just like, I'm so like, I just want to play my little games. And now I'm trying to switch it up. Like, I'm gonna have a cooking stream. I have a really great idea for a stream. Is that like my sub goal incentive was like I have to do a cooking stream and a comedian stream. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have 3 comedians over. I'm going to make them dinner, stream it, and then they're gonna perform stand up.
Oh, classy, like an IFC show. I love
Yeah.
that. Flannel Fries is in the audience, and Flannel Fries watches my stream and then also watches It's Too Early a lot and says, "We tried all the Zeldas and Skyward Sword broke us." That's true.
In a sad way or like in a
I
brain way?
hate Skyward Sword.
I hate how when they even HD'd it, they still made it bad.
Well, and we tried the HD one because I was playing through every Zelda, and Skyward Sword came out, and I'd fallen behind, and so I was like, I'm just gonna skip to Skyward Sword. Let's play a little Skyward Sword because it just came out, and I was like, how did they make it? How they make it worse? How they make it worse?
But
That's
here's the
dumb.
thing. I don't say the game sucks. I think sadly that the gameplay is so awful that people overlook the fact that it actually is not a bad game. I actually love the game.
No, if the gameplay
love
is
the
bad, then it's a
music.
bad game, Lisa. By definition, it's a
But
game.
that's
If you're telling me if you're telling me it's a game that has great story and great cutscenes, I'm there with you. If you're telling me it's a game that has it's got some great characters.
I
I
am
love
still a Skyward Sword apologist, and I don't.
some of the dungeons are very clever, but the connective tissue of that game and the way the game disrespects you as a player, like the lack of respect this game has for you, where it's just like, hey, it's been 2 minutes since you picked up a bottle. Do you want me to tell you what a bottle is? No, I don't. Hey, did you know you're supposed to be heading north? Yeah, I'm going east for a little bit because I thought there might be some extra treasure over there. Hey, north is the way that you go. Yeah,
By the way,
I know
your
that north is-
batteries are dying. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, your batteries are dying, and you should waggle the remote, and you should do this, and it's just like,
That's what
shut up and let me play Zelda.
That's what breaks my heart, though, is that like why it had such potential to be
It's a
such an
rude
amazing
game.
Yeah.
It's a terribly rude game, and even the HD one. So I've played it before on the Dolphin emulator where you like upscale it,
Mhm.
and the watercolor filter that they had going, the way that as the game recedes farther on the Wii, it turns into a watercolor painting. It was beautiful. It was just that the Wii. It was just that the Wii didn't have the graphical fidelity to show off what was going on. For some reason on the Switch, they changed that filter. It doesn't look like that anymore. It's much more generic looking. And then they added like traditional controller support, and it's terrible. And it makes you like, they're like, oh, we'll give you traditional controller support, but in a way that makes you want to waggle the controller again. It's so bad.
One of my favorite things about Skyward Sword, though, is the first Hyrule Warriors, and you got the Dynasty Warriors version of the Skyloft song, and it is a fucking
Sure. So your favorite thing about Skyward Sword is a different game using a song from Skyward Sword.
No,
That says a lot about Skyward Sword.
I love all the dungeons Skyward Sword. I loved a lot of the boss fights, and of course, I loved the story, cutscenes, all that shit. But yeah, like I hate that I'm still an apologist for it because I'm like, I don't know.
It's not great. It's not great.
That's why I was so pissed about the Switch version, is that it had the potential to make the combat more like
Twilight Princess. They did the minimum. They did the minimum. They did the same with the Mario 3D All-Stars. They did the minimum. Cert Sane is saying, yeah, but name me another Zelda with Groose. And that's the biggest heartbreak of all.
Yeah.
is that we have never gotten another game with the Skyloft characters. We've gotten no more Groos. Listen, there's a every generation, there's a Link, there's a Zelda, there's an Impa, there's Malon and Talon. Why isn't there in every generation a Groose?
Where is our Gaston of the series? We
Where
don't
is
have.
our problematic bully turned into perfect himbo?
Yeah. I loved Bruce so much.
Groose is the only character arc in the game.
He is.
Nobody else has any character arc or development.
It's so great, and I love him in the game so much.
Also, Girahim fucks.
Oh, I love him.
Girahim's the best. I remember people hating
I
Girahim.
love my flamboyant clown sword.
God.
He is such a great villain, like, because he's so animated.
His,
Like, they
his
don't. That's
weird,
another.
his weird, flirty, sexy lizard tongue, and he's just the campest villain. I just love him so
He's just
much.
snaky and gross, and I love it because they don't. That's another thing is they don't really have that in other Zelda games. But
No.
Twilight Princess for me still remains my favorite. I
See,
am.
it's the pacing of Twilight Princess that ruins it for me.
I love the pacing of Twilight Princess. We replayed it on stream,
I mean,
and I
it's
still
just
cried.
Fish and Impose souls. It's like there's too much running around.
I love it all.
I have a lot more love for it now than I did when it first came out. When it first came out, I I really I really disliked it. I tried to I don't dislike any Zelda. When I say dislike, I mean for a Zelda game. Zelda is my favorite series of games, Zelda and Castlevania. I cannot dislike a Zelda game.
There's
So
an
when
entire village with cats.
yeah, like there's a lot of cool stuff in it. When it first came out, because it came right after Wind Waker, I was like, "Oh, they're apologizing to all of the people that hated Wind Waker and thought Wind Waker was too cartoony. They took too much of a hard right into gloomy, dire bloom lighting. They really wanted it to make it look like an Xbox game."
See, but I think the pacing in Wind Waker is worse than Twilight Princess.
Now it depends on how much. I think there's the pacing at the end, the actual finding of the final Triforce. That's problematic in terms of pacing. But Wind Waker, in terms of pacing, entirely depends on how much stuff you want to do.
Oh, I am like 100% everything. I got all the sea charts, all the treasures. It was
Yeah. Well, see,
yeah,
you did that to yourself. When
yeah.
you say the pacing is bad, and then you tell me
Also,
I got everything.
it was very long too, and also it just felt longer because before the HD version, you could not sail faster, and so it was just
A
like
double sail.
yeah, it
But
was like constant like, ugh, oh my
but can I
god.
tell you, I was one of those people. That game was made, and when I tell people Wind Waker is my favorite, I always put the asterisk on of like, I know it's actually, if I was to look at everything objectively, it's probably not the best. It's the one that spoke the most to me, right? The
Yeah.
Toei, the Toei animal, like the Toei anime style that looks like the Little Prince and the Seven Dragons. Like, I love that. The Picto box and just
Mine
chilling and taking pictures, and then even the sailing. I just love setting my boat in a direction and like leaning back and chilling and just being like, I'm at sea. This is lovely. I'm in a world.
See, that was like me with Twilight Princess because I loved Midna so much. Like, that was, like, right at the beginning of when I
Oh,
really
Midna's the best.
that's why I started getting into the games more of, like, the lore versus, like, the gameplay. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, Link to the Past was that for me, but, like, this was the big one where it's, like, I had a really deep emotional connection because when Majora's Mask came out, I was 8 years old. So, like, I didn't have an emotional connect I was just like, "This is a lot of side quests," so I didn't
Sure.
appreciate it for what it was, and then I
Yeah.
played it as I got older and was like, "Oh my god,
Did it
this."
stress you out? Did the time limit stress you out as a kid?
Yeah, because that was before
Yeah.
my undiagnosed mental illness.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, yeah. But yeah, that was a problem for a lot of kids. It was just that timer was oppressive, I think. Because as
Yeah.
a kid, you don't understand that the timer is artificial and you're never really gonna run out of time.
Well,
It
yeah,
it
yeah.
and so it's just like playing it as a kid, you're like,
It was just tough to play as a kid anyways because,
Yeah,
like, it felt rushed, and I also didn't appreciate for what it was. I had to
yeah.
replay it, but Twilight Princess came out when I was just starting high school, so for me, I was already in a more impressionable age where it's like, I just wanna have emotional connections with things, and this was the thing, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I love the
And it
Zelda
was
timeline and all this shit."
yeah, and because they were trying to do a Zelda that was a little bit more like the games that were popular at the time, not just visually, but um, they really started leaning much heavier on story in that one. Like this, I feel like the story of Twilight Princess is told in a much more traditional way than a lot of other Zelda stories. But it's
Best Zelda
also the
design.
thing it's also the thing that like really pushed us on that path to the Skyward Sword all story, no run around, no have fun.
No, I think Skyward Sword was kind of like a Phantom Hourglass where it's like, we gotta test the limitations of our mechanics and we're gonna use Zelda to be the victim of that. Like,
It's
like Phantom Hourglass is terrible because it's like,
Phantom Hourglass is really bad.
look what everything that the Nintendo stylus can do. And it's like,
But
that
if
was
you play Phantom Hourglass now and you play the patched ROM that puts everything on the D-pad, it's a pretty decent Zelda
But
game.
then you have to keep going back to that ocean temple, and that was like
Yeah.
the ugh, God. But that's the thing with the Skyward Sword is that like they were like Wii Motion Plus. Who can we use as a victim for this new innovative thing that nobody asked
But
for?
the thing is, I don't think it was a thing of you have to use Zelda to show that off. That's not usually the way they work. I think it was a way of they were actually excited about it, and
Yeah.
that's why they wanted to make a Zelda around it. Whereas like a lot of companies are like, well, Microsoft told us that this would be a better Connect game. With the Zelda games, it's like Oonuma and Miyamoto going, actually, this is really cool, and we could probably build a Zelda around this, and we have a lot of amazing ideas. A lot of times when particularly during the Wii era, it was like, how do we
Sword
make this how do we make this accessible, right? The Wii was about bringing everybody to games that didn't play video games usually. And what that was that was the Zelda for everybody. And when you make a Zelda for everybody, it's not bowling, it's a Zelda for nobody. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it turned what could have been a very beautiful game into like what Flannel Fry says, kind of like a gimmick. And it was just
Yeah.
like, ugh, I didn't like it.
But there were things you could see, there were good ideas in it. You know, the idea of like, which way is this guy blocking and then which way do I slash? That's kind of fun. And you can see, but it's more fun in Wii Sports Resort and it's more fun in Switch Sports as like the Chanbara game. It was an interesting mechanic, but they took a lot of stuff like,
That's why I love the old Mega 64 video where he like does the Skyward Sword. Do you ever see that? It's
mhm,
just like a guy in like a wife beater, like with the Wii Remote Plus in public, like swinging around. And it's just a guy as Link, and he's just sitting there, standing and shaking his arm in the air because he can't move.
I love it.
Oh, it's so good. What are your thoughts on Breath of the Wild? I don't know if I asked you this.
So I saw a little Breath of the Wild discussion just now in the chat. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you this, I do think Breath of the Wild is genuinely the best Zelda. And when people are like, it's a great game, but it's not a great Zelda game, I 100% disagree because when you go back to the original Zelda, Breath of
It's
the Wild
very
feels
open.
it
Yeah.
feels the most like the original Zelda to me.
Which is why the original Zelda was frustrating for me, but I was also like 5 years old playing it.
But they've learned, I mean, that's the thing is at the time, Zelda was like the biggest game Nintendo had ever made, the original Legend of Zelda. And nobody had made a game like that before. And they did not know how to do it. They were inventing the adventure game. They were inventing the action RPG. There had been a few things, but nothing
Yeah.
like that. But like when you think about how Breath of the Wild works, they're so much better now at like giving you the sign points, like letting you know which way is the right way, like by showing you or by you run into very sparse like there are characters around if you look for them. You know what I mean? And that's the
No,
thing is,
I think it still had the heart of Zelda, but
mhm,
yeah, I think when people say like it's not a Zelda game, it's because they're missing those elements that they love, like big different types of dungeons and
mhm.
like it's like these shrines were like kind of the replacement. If you like put the length of the shrines, yeah, you get a bunch of dungeons. But I think
Yeah.
that was the part that I really didn't like. But I also put fucking 600 hours in Breath of the Wild because I
Yeah.
loved it.
I mean,
Like it was like
I mean, the thing is you still had the big bosses inside of uh inside of like inside of the Guardians. They were all like Phantom Ganon essentially,
yeah, which I
but
wasn't like a fan of, but I got
but
it.
you know,
Or wise.
the bosses were there and they hit on a bunch of the traditional boss types. But then also they did this thing where like as you're running around in the world because it was such an open world, you could find big bad creatures that were functionally bosses, which I really loved. Before for a very long time, I said the best 3D Zelda is Shadow of the Colossus. Until Breath of the Wild came out, I said, I think actually the best 3D Zelda is Shadow of the Colossus because it felt the most like the original Zelda in 3D to
And
me.
Adam Sandler loves that game.
And Adam Sandler was into it, and Adam Sandler and I were talking about it. He's like, Scoobity-dee, you gotta try the Shadow of the Colossus. You gotta point your sword into the light. Cha-cha-cha-biddy-goo. And I was just like, you know what, Adam Sandler, you're absolutely right. He's trying to save the girl, but the subtext is, does she even know him? Is this magic evil? Who knows?
I hate this, by the way. Jesus Christ. Well, that was what I said too, is that like, yeah, Breath of the Wild is basically like the first Zelda game redone. You immediately step into the middle of
Except in this one, Link's kind of a fuckboy. And
He's
actually, it works.
He's
Like-
he is the cutest little fuckboy twink, and I love him.
He really is. Because previous Zelda games, it's like somebody would hit on Link, and Link would be like, he'd be like, oh, but this is a gender fluid fuckboy Link. And when when somebody hits on Link, he's like, yeah, cool. I'm not really into that, but thank you. You know what I mean?
Unless it's our shark boy, who I'm just like, oh my god.
I think he and Sidon maybe are maybe into each other. Now I'm gonna say something incredibly controversial right here on this stream. Get ready. Please get all of your donations in now, because you will not want to support charity after I say this.
I was gonna say Sidon. I called him sit on my face.
I fucking love Rivali.
Yeah.
Rivali owns. I love a full of himself narcissistic tsundere bird who just like doesn't care about you.
Yeah, big fan of Hyrule's Falco. It's just
I love it.
Thankful Link. Like, that's just like who he is.
You're in and out again.
I know. I guess I should be thankful Link is what I said, because I hate birds. I'm sorry. I just don't like birds, and bird type characters are always assholes.
But what about our good accordion bird?
He's also annoying.
You don't like him?
Him and his stupid poems that I have to figure out what the fuck they meant. Yeah.
You don't like Cass? That's wild. I would be walking through.
Here's the thing.
No, listen. No. Here's the thing. How dare you? How dare you? I would be walking through Hyrule, and it would be quiet, and I'd have my little piano cluster chords, and I'd think that I was heading nowhere. I would think that I was heading in the exact wrong way, and that I was walking towards a big nothing, and then in the distance, I would hear. And I'd be like, my friend Cass, I will keep walking in this direction, and a cool little prize will be waiting for me.
Okay, Cass is good because I don't like birds, but they made a good bird character. But here's the thing, I already don't like birds, so make the bird likable.
I almost bought the first 4 figures of Rivali when they made the Rivali statue. I don't own a lot of statues. I don't own a lot of like big boys. I do have the King of Red Lions. I have Link on the King of Red Lions from Wind Waker. But I nearly bought the Rivali. I was like, Rivali fucking owns. I love a character that hates you as the protagonist. I just love a rival. I love a rival that kind of hates you, but respects the hell out of you.
Like a little tsundere.
Yeah, I do. I just love it. I think it's so fun when because every other character is just like, you're the best. Save us. We support you. Everything. And I just love a guy that shows up that's like, who's this asshole? Like, I love that.
I do. I will say I do love that, but I still don't like birds, so it doesn't matter.
Man, eat shit. Bird characters rule. Do you know on Failed Save, people have mentioned in the chat, which is the every Friday, it's our D&D show on PixelCircus. I play a bird. I play an Aarakocra monk, and he is minorly based on Rivali.
That is hilarious. I will say his character is much refreshing to everyone else, and being like, this is our prodigy twink, and he's like, I don't fucking care about this guy.
Yeah,
like, no, I will say
I've
that
been here and I've been doing it, and don't worry, I'm gonna keep doing it. Rivali.
Yeah. But I will say, out of like all the champions,
Yeah.
Mifa's still my favorite because she's so sweet and adorable.
Yeah, she's very good.
I always fall for the sweet, adorable characters. Or it's either they're like sweet and adorable or they're like haggard, like old men. Which is why I love Ganondorf and obviously the Yakuza series so much. If someone
I
just
mean,
looks like they've been through a lot of shit, I love
yeah.
them.
If it's
Or
not, I mean, I like really old Impa in Skyward Sword, like the oldest Impa. Like I really do enjoy that, where she's just like only her hat moves. I would say champions, it's Rivali first, then Urbosa. Gotta love Urbosa.
oh yeah, she's a strong, beefy woman. I
She's
love her.
amazing. We love Urbosa. Then probably Daruk and then Mifa. And the reason I'm not a big Mifa fan is I just and I understand this is the repetitive storytelling, which I love. Every generation there is a fish girl who wants to smooch Link, and that's Mifa. And I do kind of like Mifa's story of like in Breath of the Wild of being like, oh, I'm never going to be Zelda, and that sucks. I like that a little bit more than like the previous
Don't
fish
like
princesses
Ruto.
we've seen.
I don't like Ruto. I never like Ruto though.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I did like playing her in Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah,
I don't know if you knew. I really liked the first Hyrule Warriors. I hated the
no,
second one.
I like Hyrule Warriors. And I like it once they made it perfectly clear, because at first they were selling it as, here's a little bit of lore from Breath of the Wild, and it's the origin story. I was like, don't you put that origin story in a fucking Samurai Warriors game.
This is what I loved about Hyrule Warriors, the first one.
But once they said it was in like a pocket universe that doesn't matter, I was like, great, cool.
But that's why the first one was better. It was like this one girl wanted to fuck Link so bad she was pissed off and opened the portals to all the universes. I'm like, that's amazing. I love it. That's the whole story.
I love that too. But like,
then,
but it also means it's not the canonical story of Breath of the Wild. You know what I mean?
But this is the first one. The second one is the champions based one, and I hated it because I was like, I'm so tired of Breath of the Wild assets. Like I'm ready to move on to the next thing. Like I just felt like after the DLC.
What's your hot take on Linkle? Because I think it sucks.
I think it's a meme name. And also, they just, at that point of the game, I was like, I just don't care about these characters.
They should have just called her Link.
Yeah.
I wish they had just called her Link.
Linkle is hilarious name.
They turned her into the Miss Pac-Man of fucking...
What they should have done is just gotten different outfits for Link, making Link gender fluid, because the whole point of Link's character is to be just a link between the character and the game. So there's no reason to
did a great job of that in Breath of the Wild. That was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
But like, if they were gonna do Linkle, they should have just said, "I'm Link." Link from another world, and that's fine.
I would love it if they had a Zelda game where Link is reincarnated as a lady, and then we get Zeldor, the male.
Do you remember when the Breath of the Wild trailer came out and everybody was like,
is Link a girl?
Oh, Link's a woman. Link's a girl this time. And I was just like, I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's like there's no lore saying that Link, I mean, there is like, it's a boy in a green tunic, but that can be changed. Just like
it's a child in a green tunic, and then there's no reason it can't be like a helpless prince.
Yeah, there's no laws. There's no laws in the Link world.
There's no laws. We're drinking claws in Hyrule, baby, and there's no laws.
I'm really sad that we couldn't expand more on Zelda talk, because I love talking. I never get to talk about Zelda. It's so funny. Zelda is still my favorite series in the world, but because I've been going through, Yakuza, Souls games, and now I'm sorry, MGS, it's like I never really got a chance. Like I replayed Link to the Past on stream, and I replayed Twilight Princess, and that was great. But like people weren't really engaged with it as much, because they love watching people play Souls games because they want to see how do they play it.
That's the other reason I don't stream as much as I should, because I'm just like, I don't give a fuck what you want to see. I'm gonna play what I want to play.
And so for me, it was like, it's nice to have someone I can talk to, because like even my gaming friends growing up, they played like Halo, Call of Duty and shit. They didn't play. I was always the outcast in gaming for some reason, as if Zelda isn't one of the most popular franchises of all time.
Yeah,
It just
everybody
wasn't
plays Zelda.
it just wasn't a crowd that I had. So when Breath of the Wild came out and had all my friends like finally get into Zelda, I was like, oh my God, like this is a godsend for me. And so I was like, this is my time to shine. And then
This
a
is
lot of
it.
people, yeah.
Zelda's
so-
back, baby.
So
But
when
we only have like 2 months to talk about Zelda because when Splatoon 3 comes out, I'm officially a Splatoon fan again, and I can't talk about anything else.
Oh Jesus.